Hi, today I'm going to talk about the quest system. This is part 4, and I'm just going to go through how it's done. Keep in mind this is a test level with test models, not actually part of the game. So the quest system is initiated at this point through the conversation system. So now I received a quest. The quest has multiple objectives. The first objective here is to take enemy damage. You can see as the objective is detected, it'll do things. This one has a waypoint set, which is that enemy fish, and he's going to attack me at some point. He's got an unobstructed view to me, and then when I've taken enough damage, the objective will auto-complete. I'm just going to go through how that's done. This is all built in. All the objectives are autonomous, so they don't, and independent of each other, and they're reusable as well. That's how it was designed. There's a lot of hiding places here. There we go. Started taking a little bit of damage there. It's always like that. If you want them to attack you, they don't. If you just want to try and get a look at them, they always attack you. Weird. There's no audio yet. I haven't done any sound effects or anything like that. There we go. So my health's dropping, and when it's dropped enough, the objective completes, and if I go here and continue on, I'll receive another objective, and so on. So I just want to show you guys how that's done. So there's a base class called FG Quest Actor. It's a C++ class that has various properties in it, like descriptions. It can award XP on completion and skill points for your skill tree. Then it has a list of objectives, a current objective instance, which is the actor, and then a current objective index, which is obviously an index to the list, which is the one that's currently active. It has a few functions. Current objective completed will basically complete the current objective if it's there, award any XP and skill points that the objective itself has, and then it will call the next objective. Now this is called a blueprint function, which we'll go through in a second. And then if the quest is completed, it will call the quest completed function, which is also a blueprint implemented event. The objectives themselves are also, the base class is also a C++ class. It has a description, it has a reference to the quest it belongs to, or the instance of the quest it belongs to. So there can be multiple instances of objectives active, and they can belong to multiple quests. They have waypoints, optional. They have a waypoint, and if the waypoint vector is set. They also have XP award and skill point award. They don't have any code because it's extended in blueprint. So looking at the base quest blueprint, which extends from that C++ class, FG Quest Actor, it has a whole bunch of functions. Not really a whole bunch, just a few. In the begin play, it will spawn the current objective based on whatever the current objective index is set to from the character. So the character also has a current objective index. This is useful for because this can maintain state, so you can save and load the game and carry on from the last point or the last objective you were busy with. The spawn current objective function is a blueprint function. Basically just checks if the current objective is valid, it destroys it. Sets some variables to null, and then if the current objective index is valid, it gets the objective class from the list of objectives, and then it spawns it. And then it sets the quest actor instance on the objective, so that the objective has a handle back to the quest, or a reference, and then it attaches the objective to the quest. So the objective will move or be in-game attached to the quest. Then there's a next objective function, which gets called, can get called from Blueprint or C++, which is called when the next objective should be spawned, and all that does is just call spawn current objective based on the index that was set on the character. So that's the same function that's called in the begin play, and then it also saves a checkpoint to make sure that the state is maintained. Then let's take a look at and you'll see in the viewport there's nothing really on this quest actor in Blueprint. It's also, this is meant to be extended, and it will be. So looking at the base objective blueprint, so a quest will contain a list of these. The base objective blueprint extends the C++ class FGObjective-actor, and then for the base class it doesn't really do much except it shows the current objective information on the screen for a short duration using this pop-up player info function, which is called on the character, which basically sets some text on the HUD and then plays this show pop-up info HUD animation. Let's take a look at one of the quests. Which is this test quest called Master Catfish. This quest has 12 objectives, which we're going to go through a few of them. I just want to quickly go through how the quest is actually provided. If you look at the character, it's provided in multiple ways, or it can be, but in this case it's two ways. The first is from the begin play function. Actually, let's look at the conversation first. From the conversation system, which we haven't gone through, that's quite involved. Conversations can provide quests, and as you're going through any of the topics and whatever, because it's all dynamic, it's not hard-coded, you can specify certain topics of conversation should provide certain quests, and that's what's happening here as part of the conversation system. This provide quest blueprint code is called here, which we'll call this make quest active function. This is actually a C++ function on the character itself. It's right here, make quest active. Sets the quest name, the objective index, and then calls the spawn active quest, which is a blueprint function again. And the spawn active quest and there's also a quest completed function, which will obviously complete the quest. So the spawn active quest uses the game mode to ensure that the quest is provided in the game mode. This is an Unreal Engine specific object type, but I've added some properties in there, so the quest must exist in there, and then it gets a class name and then spawns it, and then attaches that quest to the actual actor, to the character. So the quest will always stay stay attached to the character as long as it's active, to make sure that it's always in range or whatever, so that because the character can move around and things like that, I don't want it to go out too far. And then there's some journal functions. We haven't done any of the journaling stuff. That'll come from the conversation system, but it updates the journal. This is back in the provide quest from the topic selected of the conversation system, and then it saves a checkpoint. But the important part here is that's how the quest is provided, or one way. The other way is in the begin play function of the character. At a certain point, the available quests are populated only if this is the main character. So this is just a little hard-coded function to add the quest class names to the list of available quests in the game mode. And then at some point it will load the game. This load game function is a C++ function called on the character, and part of its function, part of its stuff that it needs to do is obviously load the game and maintain its state, the last state that was saved. But also, if there was an active quest saved along, it will ensure that the correct quest and objective is made active or spawned, and this calls the same blueprint function spawn active quest, which we looked at just now. So let's take a look at one of the quests. So this is the master catfish quest, a little test quest. It has 12 objectives. So when the quest is spawned for the first time, obviously the first thing that's going to happen is going to spawn the first objective instance, because that's what the base class told it to do. We looked at the event begin play, so it will spawn the first objective for this take damage BP objective. It's a pretty straightforward objective. It extends from the blueprint base objective, which then obviously extends from the C++ class. So there's a bit of a hierarchy here. But also, just going back to the quest, it has XP award and skill points awards, where the most objectives do not have XP and skill points awarded, but you can optionally have them. It's just useful. So what this does is this objective, the take damage objective, the idea is to track the closest enemy fish, a little blueprint function, which gets called every tick. So it resets a whole bunch of variables, and then it looks for any pawns of class third person character that are within a specific radius, 2000 units. It goes through them and makes sure that they are in a hunting state and AI controlled, meaning they're not friendly. Then it finds the one that is the closest to you, and sets that to a variable called track actor. Now that track actor is just a blueprint variable, and when the loop completes, it checks if track actor has been set, and if it has, it will call the set the waypoint, and the is waypoint set on the objective, which is then used by the compass, so you can see if there is a waypoint. So the objectives themselves control where the waypoint is and if it's even set. So not all objectives will have waypoints or have to have waypoints. And then how does it know when it's done? That's still part of the tick event. Track closest enemy fish is really just to set the waypoint for the objective. So we get a reference to the character, and we check if the health is decreased below 75%, and then we call this objective completed function. This current objective completed function is a C++ function we looked at on the quest, which will complete the current objective, call the next one if there is one, or complete the quest and award XP and all that stuff. That's one example of an objective. The next objective we can look at is this return to the master catfish objective. It's so do something, go back to him, do something, go back. So this objective is reusable, which makes this the quest system very modular and autonomous and independent and quite flexible. So this return to master catfish blueprint is quite simple. In the begin placer, when it's spawned and attached to the quest actor, it will go and find all pawns of type third person character. If they're valid and their name matches a specific name, it will just set a variable here called master catfish, and then in the tick event it resets some variables, ensures that that variable is valid. If the distance is greater than 100 units, it will set a waypoint. So if you're further away than 100 units from this actor, it will show you a waypoint to him. You'll notice that this blueprint does not complete. It doesn't ever call the quest objective completed function, and that is because part of the conversation system is to actually complete the current objective. If the response that it provides is going to complete the objective, that's part of the conversation system, which we haven't gone through, and I'll go through that at some point. I just want to see if I can quickly find it. Because I can't always remember where it happens, because I mean there's a lot of stuff happening here, and the conversation system is is quite involved. There is a lot of stuff happening here. I think it's this topic selected. Yeah, there we go. Sorry, that took just way too long. I do have notes, but I was thinking of just adding this in as a bonus. So as part of the conversation system, when a particular topic has been selected, so this code would run on the master catfish and not on the character. A lot of things here are happening, but depending on your response and what value has been set, you'll see there are no hard-coded values here for the conversation system. It's using a dynamic system that's got a little user interface that can populate responses, and part of the responses are to complete the current objective. So when you've returned to him, he's going to ask you something else, or he's going to say something, and depending on your answer, he's then going to give you your next objective, because you've returned to him. But it mustn't automatically complete the objective just because you've returned to him, because you can swim away again, and that's a problem, because then you're not going to have the next objective. So it's going to be a little weird. So that's happening as part of the conversation system. When you've come back to him, your waypoint's going to disappear. You're close enough, you're going to swim up to him, and the objective will complete. Let's quickly show you an example of that. So this is the initial interaction. They're receiving the quest. Now we just need to quickly take some damage again. Hope it doesn't take this long this time. Let's see, there we go. 1, 2, 3. Right, so now we've got the return. So now I'm returning to him. I've reached him, the waypoint disappears because I'm closer than 100 units. Swim away, but the objective doesn't complete the minute. I can talk to him about other things. And the minute I've spoken to him about a specific topic, receive the next objective to go and replenish my health. And that's basically how that works. Let's just quickly take a look at some of the other objectives in the Master Catfish quest. Another one I just want to look at is the shooting one, which was a little bit more involved, which you get later on. So the shooting one, you need to kill a certain amount of enemy fish before you can move on. In the begin play, it sets a pop-up timer every 30 seconds to loop. Now this pop-up count is a blueprint function, and what it will do is it will check the kill count of the character and then decide if the objective is completed or not based on that value. And if there are still kills that you need to do, it will show call this show countdown pop-up. Now this is called on a HUD, on the character HUD. Well, this is called on the character, but this function here, the set countdown images, is going to do that. So we get a reference to the HUD, and then we call the set countdown image function, which is called on the HUD, the countdown HUD, which just looks like this. And then as part of that function, it will set specific image and call this pop-up countdown animation, which is just a little pop-up with specific images in it to show a number. So it'll just pop up and fade out like that. As part of the UI, I've shown you guys some of the as part of the UI previous video, I showed you guys some of that interaction and UI animations and sort of how that's done. Another cool thing that this objective will do is ensure that you can shoot, so it'll unlock the shooting skill. We haven't done the skill system yet, but this is called on the this is the function inside of the objective, which basically goes and checks if shooting has already been unlocked on the character. It will literally add it to his list of can unlock skills. That's one of the ways to unlock skills, and then you can spend or use get those skills by spending skill points. So back to the begin play. Then it sets a timer for popping up player info. Now this pop-up player info message is also called every 30 seconds. And what it does is just guides the player a little bit on what to do. So if we have unlocked shooting, it will give you some info on how to shoot, and if you haven't, it will tell you need to level up. Then also as part of the begin play for that objective, it will find all ammo pickups, cache a reference to that ammo pickup, because that's actually going to that's just for the waypoint. So the tick event it just sees is that ammo pickup valid, and then it sets a waypoint to the ammo pickup, and if it isn't there, it won't show it. That's it for today. Thank you.